All right, gamers, welcome back. The first thing that I teach new teams when I begin to coach them is that defaults win games. Defaults are a thing that I see done wrong consistently at all levels of gameplay. It is so important. It is absolutely vital to running a good T-side. So we are going to get into it today. Before this, we've done a lot of abstract stuff, a lot of conceptual stuff, but now it's time to get into the actual game and get into the nitty-gritty of running a Counter-Strike round, boys. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. You guys know what I need. It's the notepad. Just kidding. Gotcha. I've upgraded, boys. Welcome to the PowerPoint. Defaults win games. So we'll start off with, what is a default? And here's the thing, everybody gets it wrong. People think a default, when I first ask them, is, everybody just go to their position and see what you can get done. But that is not it. And that completely misses the point of what a default is. A default is a basic round in which every player goes to their set position to achieve a specific objective, right? What the IGL does is set the pace and set what you're meant to do with the default. That can mean which position you take first and which position plays defensively, how much risk that you take, and the speed at which you do things. And all these factors change based on the context of the game and what's been happening so far. But the point is that everybody needs to be playing the default in the same way, which is set out by the IGL at the start of the round. So, the point of a default is to take control of the objectives, right? On every different map, there is strategical objectives, map control, areas that you want to take that make it easier for you to hit bomb sites or achieve other things. Just maybe cut rotations or maybe just pressure different points that make the game easier for you in general. So you want to take control of those, and it allows you to set the pace of the game. So are you going to go fast? Are you going to go slow? Are you going to take a lot of risk? Are you not? You are now in control of that by running your default and the way in which you run your default. It decreases randomness by moving systematically. Let's say Inferno, you got to take banana, you got to know the utility that you throw. You're going to know how you're going to take, you're going to know who moves where. So anything that the other team can do, you're probably going to have an answer for it. And furthermore, you put players into gunfights that they can win or easily get traded. It's about getting players into comfortable positions, right? You want to decrease that randomness. You've seen this spot 1,000 times before. You know all the possible things that can happen. You know all the gimmicks that the other team is going to have. So you can go there, achieve the objective that your IGL says, and then move on. It's so important. It's so important here, boys, that defaulting is not just running to your position randomly and just doing whatever you feel like. Wow, this round I feel like, pushing all the way to the bomb site. That's not it. That's right. There's a team goal. So we catch the aggression from the other team, right? First and foremost, the point of doing this stuff is if the other team runs at you, if they have a gimmick that you've probably never seen before, you're in a good position to catch it or capitalize on it when they do. It allows you to be prepared for anything that they can do. And even if the enemy does succeed in getting a kill, you're going to have a teammate nearby that can capitalize. Or if your teammate can't capitalize near you, you're going to be able to capitalize somewhere else at some point on the map. Any mistakes that the other team makes, over aggression, you're just sitting there waiting, ready to capitalize on it, ready to react to the information and stimulus that they give you. Now we've got a theory that we're going to do later on, and this is its whole own video, boys, called the elastic band theory. And this basically makes sure that this happens, that no matter what the other team does, you're in a position to capitalize on it. It's super easy, but it will take us some time to cover. So that's going to be the next video, or maybe the video after. We'll see. It's coming pretty soon, boys. So we're also able to establish conditioning using a default. The idea here is mastering your own position, right? So everybody runs to your position, and you may have thrown grenades for the last 5 rounds in a row on a specific spot, right? At the 6th round, you can be pretty sure that the enemy player is not going to be able to play in that spot anymore. Or let's say the enemy's been doing a particular thing 5 rounds in a row. It's your job as that player who goes there to know that he does that, to come up with a plan to beat that player and abuse what they're doing. Same with identifying weaknesses. If you've figured out that there's a problem with what these guys are doing, it's your job to get on the mic to your IGL, go, all right, boys, this guy's he's wasting his smoke on my spot. He's not going to have a smoke or a Molotov, or he's playing too aggressively. Let's bring the boys over. We'll attack him. We'll get a free kill, and we'll just be able to roll onto the bomb site. It is your job within the default to be the master of your position, to know every in and out of what's going on, because your IGL can't see that stuff, right? Your IGL can't know what's going on in your position. So you've got to make that determination, make that read, and relay it back to the team so the team can find the correct play based on what the opponent is doing. This is called being the master of your position. It is so important here. Look at this bottom line, guys. A default allows every player to contribute to the calling of strats, not just the IGL. This is the hallmark of a good team. Everybody contributes. Everybody gets a word in. Everybody uses the information that only they've got to contribute to the overall plan. And a default, by sending the same person or same people consistently to the same spots, allows this to happen in the most consistent way. All right. Here is a major concept of how you use your default. If you remember in our economy video, we spoke a lot about taking the right amount of risk for the situation. Whether you have the advantage or a disadvantage in a round determines how much you need to go out and get the advantage back or maintain the advantage you've got. The way we do this is by manipulating the default, right? We can move at different speeds. We can take different areas. We can take just different amounts of individual risk within the default based on whether or not we have the advantage or the disadvantage. All right. This is a major principle of calling a good default, and we're going to see a lot of Astralis do it later. So here it is. Who has the advantage? If it's our team, well, then we take less risks and we play to our utility and weaponry. We molly every corner. We flash every angle. We stay together. We don't stick our necks out. And if we do stick our necks out, we're probably going to have a teammate beside us to trade. Slow defaults, lots of util, basically no risk, right? And then obviously if the other team has the advantage, that means we take more risk. We try to use our mechanical ability. If we see a duel that we like, we take it, right? Because let's say we've only got a deagle. If we think we can get a kill, then we go out and try to get a kill because he had an AWP. They had the advantage in the round, so we take the risks, more peaks, more aggression, but greater reward. This is a massive idea in calling, guys. Like IGLing in general, good team Counter-Strike, this idea exists everywhere. So we're going to be talking about this again and again. You'll hear it all the time, guys. Now, this is a very important concept that I have to teach to a lot of IGLs. Calling a default does not mean that you don't know what to call. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, right? A lot of younger IGLs like to try to out big brain their opponent. They like to come up with this strategy that just walks their team onto an empty bomb site, or just 900 million IQ mega brains. the opponent by tricking them here and there and getting a pattern and breaking it. And it's like, you don't need to do any of that stuff. Calling like that increases the level of variance, the level of randomness within your performance, right? It makes it harder for your team to perform consistently. It makes it harder for you to understand the good Counter-Strike theory that you need to truly be a good team, right? It only hurts you in the long run. It also makes you very counterable. So if another team can watch your demo, they can see the set pieces and the strats that you keep running, then they know how to counter them. The point of a default is to perform consistently in ways that really can't be countered that easily or that clearly. Calling defaults is good calling, not bad calling. And you should never feel bad for calling the 7th default in a row or the 10th default in a row. That takes strength. Now, let's get into how to actually execute a default. It's got 3 stages, and we're going to go over these right now. Each stage is very clear cut. Now, you don't always need to go into every stage in every round. Based on the amount of risk that you want to be taking, you might skip some stages of the default. Now, actually skipping straight to the 3rd stage is what we call a set piece. And we'll get into videos about that, but by now you should probably know that I really don't like set pieces very much. Or if you see something happen in the round, you may skip the 2nd step, for example. The whole point of a default is to be adaptive to anything. You don't have to go through all 3 of these steps that we're about to go over in every round. The point of this is that you can mold and move and change based on what the enemy is doing. Don't get caught up in this process just because it's here. This is a guideline. This is a framework. Let's get into it. So the first stage is achieve the initial objective, right? It's specified by the IGL at the start of the round. He might say, all right, we're taking banana first. No, we're not taking banana first. We're taking brackets. We're taking apps. All right, this round we're taking everything at once. Whatever it is, that's what you do first. Super simple, using all the good theory of a default. Whatever. Once you've achieved that, you then move on to the 2nd stage, which is react to any information and achieve the secondary objectives and manipulate the map. So if anything happens, if any info queue, if the other team is doing something and you see a good response, this is when you do it. If you don't, you achieve the secondary objective. So if you took banana, for example, you'd then go and take brackets or apps, or vice versa, obviously. And then if you've done those things, you manipulate the map and get ready to execute the 3rd stage, which is attack a bomb site. Now, we're not going to go into any of this at all today, guys. This is its own video. Of course, getting onto bomb sites, this is a massive, massive part of Counter-Strike, and we'll have our own series on this, but obviously now you're getting onto the bomb sites. So how does that look in totality? Number 1, everyone goes to their position. You take the thing that the IGL says, you chill out for a bit, you take the rest of the map, you pressure the map, you move the enemies around, try to get them where you want them, and then you hit a bomb site. Hopefully the bomb site that is less defended. Hopefully you've manipulated the enemies enough so they're spread thin and you can get your force hitting a bomb site that doesn't have too many players on it. That is the general gist of a default, boys. Now, I've said this before and I'm going to keep saying this in this series. Rules are made to be broken, but you have to know why. If you go and watch a pro game, you are going to see them breaking all these rules constantly, right? But they're able to do that because they understand the Counter-Strike theory so well. They're deep in this meta game of between pro battling. They've gone so many levels deep, the counter to the counter to the counter, that it's insane. It's hard to even comprehend. So when you are watching that, you're not going to copy what they do to start off with. You're going to start with the good Counter-Strike theory, which will probably allow you to beat all the players around your level who don't know the good Counter-Strike theory, and then you're going to move up. And you'll see that, okay, yes, sometimes we don't have to go into stage 2 here. Sometimes we can just completely skip stage 1. The other team's actually not doing good protocols here, so we can just completely skip stage 1 and just go straight into stage 2 because we've got the whole map. All these different things are things that you learn as you grow as a player and get better. But first, you have to understand the basics. And if you never understand the basics, you're never going to be a complete Counter-Strike player. All right. That's the end of the theory part of this demo. Or video, sorry. We are now going to go into a demo and we are going to watch the default kings. Now, I hope when I said the default kings, you knew exactly who I was talking about. That's right, it is Astralis. These guys revolutionized Counter-Strike in 2017, 2018, when they created the basis of how Counter-Strike is played today, and they did it through defaulting. Before that, Counter-Strike was a lot less consistent. You used to see a lot of set pieces, a lot of strats, a lot of bomb site rushes, 100 pieces of utility going on the B bomb site at the start of spawn. But Astralis said, no, actually, we know how to defeat that. If you want to play in our game, which is Counter-Strike, you're going to have to be cleverer than that. So if we're going to learn to do defaults, we may as well go to the kings, boys. So in this round, who do you think is winning? It is very obvious who has the advantage, right? It is Astralis, as VP are on a full eco here. They have 5 USPs they are not planning to buy in this round. So how much risk should Astralis take? They should take very little risk. So we're going to see a very standard default here. This is an example of a safe default where they're playing slowly, systematically, using their utility to clear everything out and making sure that they're able to trade off each other. All right, let's get into it. You see, as you can see here, this is a very standard Inferno default. Just to start with, I'll give you a quick Inferno primer if you're unaware. We'll be doing this when we get more into Inferno, but the control areas that are important on Inferno are banana, brackets, and apps, right? In this game, we're going to see a lot of 2-1-2. As you can see 2 players going up second mid, 2 players going banana, and Glaive watching mid. In this round, we're seeing Magisk and Bubsky take banana first, while Dupree and Zip play defensive on second mid. Then we're going to see the second stage begin, the secondary objectives of bracket and apps, and then we'll see how they execute a bomb site. So you see them using full utility. Glaive back there, flashed them in. Where are we? Bubsky, they just use 2 Molotovs to full take car. They flash each other in. They just put a little bit of pressure on the B bomb site. They're very close to each other. They're just prodding nicely, checking for any reaction. They get no reaction. If they did get a reaction, they'd be able to trade off each other. They'd be all fine, and then they just kind of chill out. Glaive uses his smoke on jungle here, his molly on diggity to full take brackets, and then Dupree and Zipnix work together to take apps. And at this point, just after this flashbang, there's nothing here. They could trade off each other if they needed to. All done. Now at this point, you can see Astralis have full control of banana, full control of bracket, and full control of apps. Right? They've completed stage 1 and stage 2. They are now moving into stage 3, which they've chosen to hit the A bomb site. They've left Magisk here, just in this little corner, ready to punish any sort of movement or aggression, or maybe fake the B bomb site, or just maintain control of that car area. So if things go wrong on the A bomb site, they can always come back to B, right? They maintain this control, so they've got options in the round. As we'll see what happens. They're slowly moving up mid. zoom in a little bit faster. They go to move up jungle. Kurt here is alone on the A-bomb side. He's just scouting. VP were really gambling that the Astralis went to B, but they didn't. So the round is pretty much over. And as you see, all the VP players with their USPs are trying to get off the B bomb site, but they can't because Magisk has full armor and a Galil, and the round is pretty much over. Now that is an example of a simple, safe default. It is super standard, super chill. There wasn't really much risk being taken by Astralis there. They were moving together in packs using all their utility and getting strong calls out. Now, let's see some examples of some default manipulation. Now, in the very next round, because of course Astralis kept all their weapons last round, so they've kept their 3 MAC-10s and their 2 Galils, Virtus Pro have a significantly better buy than Astralis, right? So how much risk do Astralis need to take compared to last round? Because last round they needed to take no risk and they could do everything very standard. In this round, they're going to have to do something that is substandard. They're going to have to do something that takes a lot of risk. Maybe they run to their positions, then they all duel, or maybe that they pull out some sort of strategy here. Let's see what they do. Now, Bubsky is just going to throw his utility on Banana. He's sort of checking things out, seeing what's happened, sees 2 nades. The Molotov's okay. He smokes it and immediately turns around to go up to bracket. As you can see what's happened here, all of Astralis are now headed towards the A bomb site. Bubsky's used his utility here, and on the reaction from VP of the extra molly and utility down Banana, he smoked it, and they've immediately gone to brawl up mid. The idea here is that Astralis are basically going to skip stage 1 and most of stage 2 and go straight to stage 3 here. They're going, all right, we need to take a big risk. Let's see if we can throw VP off by skipping the normal stages and just straight hitting this A bomb site before they are ready and before they have any ability to react to what we're doing. Now, as you can see, James, the AWPer, is up in apps. This is not a good position for the AWP to be in if he wants to defend the A bomb site. He wants to be, on site somewhere, Modo. You don't really want to be on this side with an AWP because there's not a lot of way to operate from the AWP in this area. So this hit that's about to come out from Astralis at only 137 in the round, it'll be a few seconds in a minute, but now this hit that's coming out is going to surprise very heavily. Look where James has been caught. He's been caught out in the open, rotating. This surprise strat, this big risk that they've taken, has completely paid off. Now, they haven't fully got onto the bomb site here. They've lost their players, but it is a good position considering they were playing against a full buy with 3 MAC-10s and 2 Galils. They did not even have one player full board. So the fact that they're able to get into this end round situation and have a real chance in it is a fantastic result for their round. Of course, Magisk, being the clutch god that he is easily able to clutch out this round. Buster doesn't really have much of a chance, and Astralis win the round. That is a great example of when you are down, taking more risk, manipulating that default, skipping a couple of stages to win the round. Now, how would that have been different if VP hadn't thrown that utility at Banana? Maybe they all would have gone up Banana. Remember, it is so important that your default is adaptable based on what the other team do. You have to read the information that's being given to you and play based on that. This is good mid-round calling, and it is the essence of a good caller. Let's move on. Okay, in the very next round again, take a look at the buy. Who do you think has the advantage? And I hope you get this one right, because this is an easy question. Astralis very clearly have the advantage in this round. They've got an AWP, they've got 4 AKs, they've got full utility, whereas VP have had to force buy up. They're feeling pretty bad at 13-9. They don't really want to go down, 13-6. They really don't want to go down 14-6. They've decided it's time to buy, and hopefully start to get some momentum going. So they've got 2 Famises, a Deagle, an M4, sorry, 3 Famises, and barely any util. They are really struggling. So if we have the advantage, how much risk do we need to take? The answer is not much. We need to play a slow, systematic default and be ready for any gimmicks that VP might pull out in this scenario. At least that's my opinion. Let's see what Astralis do, boys. You guessed it. It's a slow and systematic default. To be fair, I did pick this demo in this game because they demonstrate good Counter-Strike principles, so I guess I knew. But yeah, you can see that Bubsky here and Magisk actually play out of Banana to begin the round. Normally, you might see Bubsky be up here by now, but he's not yet. He's still chilling out at the bottom of Banana. They're playing very slow and systematic, and they only sort of move into Banana when they don't see, you know, all the players of VP running down all the deep mollies. He gets the molly up, then he sort of moves in slowly, and then they move in together. Same over here. These guys are playing quite slow, quite systematic. They're using utility, as you can see here, to clear out apartments. If there's any sort of apartment stack, it's going to be mollied out, and then they go in together, you know, to clear everything out, and they peak at the same time. 3, 2, 1, peak, clear apps, and everything is good. Now, they've completed the first stage of their default, or maybe even the second stage. This was quite a quick apps take. Oh no, it's 1:15 in the round. That's probably second stage. Just seeing nothing at Banana meant these guys would go into apps. Okay, they've taken everything, and now, well, they continue to move on to bracket control. As you can see here, Glaver's just smoked jungle. Now they molly bracket. VP have been forced right back. Now, this is an interesting scenario, and it really shows the power of a default and good timing. So, if you look here, Astralis have elected to go to A. They've chosen to go to A. VP are actually stacked with 4 players on A. This seems like it's not a good situation for Astralis. VP have just gambled. They have no information and no way of knowing that Astralis are going to A. Because they've got low guns, they've decided, all right, we've got to roll the dice. We're picking A. Let's hope everything goes well. Sanji also still has his smoke at Banana. So Sanji's going to smoke the choke, right? But the thing about controlling all the control areas of a map and having all this map control is VP just can't be certain about anything. They are going to have to rotate to B at some point because they can't let Sanji just try and hold B on his own if he doesn't have his smoke left. They can't know where Astralis are because Astralis have gone completely silent and they can't know what's about to happen. So we're going to see VP begin to panic. Once Sanji uses his smoke here and the smoke dissipates, VP get antsy, and they're actually going to rotate some guys off A to go and reinforce B, which leaves B weak. Astralis hit it, and it's fine. So let's see what happens. The default continues, but something has gone wrong. Default Dupree has just been spammed to a smoke, and now they're down 4v5. That makes this situation even worse for Astralis. Everything that I just mentioned, the stack on A, even worse. But when you have map control and when you have executed the first stages of a default effectively, a 4v5 can almost be equal. Like good map control can almost compensate for being down a man. Let's have a look, guys. They're throwing all their util out. If you see Sanji's smoke's up here now, he's got the smoke up. He's just waiting to hold the smoke if it has to. But now you see what happens. We'll pause right here. This smoke is dissipated. Sanji's scared. Sanji's going, guys, there's no sound. What's happening? I'm going to need some help here soon because he doesn't have that smoke to support him. Yakinda is rotating over. Kaikert is now rotating over as well. For some reason, VP really believe it's going to be B, but Astralis are coming up diggity. And this is the problem with gambling. If you don't have information, you have to guess. Actually, even more so, you look, Buster's actually gained the information in apps. He's pushed in apps, but because Astralis are all in dig, he's saying to rotate to B. Actually, that explains why. And this is the problem. If you don't go out and get map control, if you don't actually control these areas and have solid information, your reads can be very, very wrong. Map control, so important, guys. And look what happens. They just contact up, they use the element of surprise, they flash in, they get the kills, and they're laughing. They've taken the bomb site. Now they've got the bomb site. They've got the superior weaponry. VP and even now down a man, and the round is basically over. As you can see, VP just elect to save, and they go into the next round. The final round I want to show you here is the next round in the game. After VP have just saved and forced back up, and Astralis have a force buy, this is the way that Astralis manipulate the default, right? Astralis are going to use the conditioning and the element of surprise that they've generated through this conditioning, which we'll go more on later and in a later video. But the use of these defaults, they're going to skip stage 2, similar to how we saw earlier, to completely roll over VP. So what we see is the standard stuff from Bubsky. They're all taking banana and doing things in the standard way. Zipnix is over here at second mid. He's throwing his normal utility. He's mollying apartments. He's going to throw a flashbang in here, just basically making sure that these guys hear him there, hear him throwing that normal utility. He's maintaining control of this side of the map. So if something goes catastrophically wrong over here, over in banana, they can still come back and he can still have this control. And they're going about their daily business. They are fighting hard for control of banana. But Ikinda makes a mistake. He gets mollied out and he dies. The mistake that he makes there is actually breaking the elastic band, and we'll talk about that in a future video. We're not focusing on you today, Ikinda. I'll be back for you, mate. But that mistake that he's made at 14-6 has caused a great problem for VP. There's one guy here, the B bomb site, and look at where all of Astralis are. So Astralis now are going to use their common terminology that they've practiced from watching a previous Fiend video, and they're going to roll onto the B bomb site. They are, because of the way that this default has eventuated, they are able to just, as you can see, Bubsky is just contacting straight onto the bomb site. The util goes out, the flashes go out, and Buster at the back of the bomb site there's basically nothing that he can do. Now, is that the strat that Astralis were probably going to do at the start of that round? No, they probably had a different eventuation for that round. But when they get that kill, they can immediately adapt, use that common terminology of roll, and just fly straight onto the B bomb site. They were probably planning to skip phase 2 there. They were probably planning to take banana, brawl for banana, and then pop onto the B bomb site in a sort of surprise way, or Zipnix continued to fake in second mid there. But that wasn't necessary because of the Kinder's mistake. This is just another way that Astralis manipulate that default to catch VP off guard. Now, that's the final clip for today, boys. I hope this has been very helpful, because if you're starting a new team, this is the first thing that you need to focus on. We're going to continue in the next few videos to fully understand the theory ideas of how and what you're meant to do in this default, and how you're meant to fully execute it appropriately, and all the general ideas that go into that, including conditioning, the elastic band theory, and getting onto bomb sites. We're really close now, guys. That's it for today, boys. Hit me with the like, comment, and subscribe. Push me up in that algorithm. And I'll see you all soon.